Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with tzatziki sauce. That's right, I'm going to show you what I think is the best method for making this incredibly delicious Greek yogurt and garlic sauce. And just how amazing is this stuff? If the current Greek debt crisis plunges the entire world into economic chaos, I would still not be mad at them based on this recipe alone. I'd be like, sure, your 401k is gone, but have you tasted this on grilled lamb? It's unbelievable. So anyway, let me show you how to do this. It is super simple. So first up, we're going to prep our cucumber. I have one English cucumber, and I am going to peel it. That's optional. Some people don't. I'm not going to seed it, though. The seeds of an English cucumber are very small and flavorless. If you're using those regular dark-skinned garden cucumbers, you probably do want to peel and seed those. So I peeled it, I trimmed the ends off, and then we're going to grate it, which, by the way, is the authentic method of production. All right, there's an old Greek saying, the first thing you see when you get to Hades are all the people that use food processors to make tzatziki. It just doesn't work as good, okay? And from that cucumber, we're going to get three things: flesh, flavor, and fluid. But we only want the first two. I want those little pieces of cucumber flesh for the texture. And of course, I want the flavor, but I don't want that fluid. So what we're going to do after we grate it is we're going to mix in a little bit of salt, and that's really going to draw out that water. We'll let it sit there for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll squeeze it dry. And then we won't have to worry about a watery tzatziki, which is the worst. So we're going to mix in the salt, and we're just going to let that sit there, and you're going to be amazed at how much liquid comes out. So I'm going to set that aside, like I said, about 10 or 15 minutes. And while we're waiting for that, we might as well go ahead and grab our yogurt. So we're going to need about 2 cups of Greek strained yogurt, the good stuff, the thick stuff. I mean, you can see the gorgeous body to that yogurt. That's almost borderline cheese. Just a beautiful, rich texture, tangy flavor. Just super good. So please go to the nicest grocery store in town and try to find Greek yogurt. And I say about 2 cups because I'm not about to dirty a measuring cup to make tzatziki. That would be silly. So I'm just going to guesstimate a couple cups into the bowl. And because I get paid by the hour, that took me about 10 minutes to get that yogurt into the bowl. So by now our cucumber should be ready. So let's go check. And there you go. You can see all that excess liquid. We don't want that in our tzatziki, or as my Greek friend calls it, tzatziki. So what we're going to do is we're going to dump that onto a towel or a napkin and squeeze out the excess liquid. And you really should use a clean cloth napkin. That's the easiest. I'm using paper towels, which will work, but not if they're those cheap ones. Those are going to just fall apart. Of course, I have access to the very expensive celebrity grade paper towels, so I use those, but a clean napkin or cheesecloth is your best bet. So squeeze out as much liquid as you can and then add the cucumber to the yogurt. And by the way, that's one of my favorite green colors of all time. There are some colors you can only see if you cook, and that's one of them. So we have our yogurt, we have our cucumber prepped. Now we're going to add some finely crushed garlic, and a good amount of it. All right, by the way, all these ingredient amounts are to taste. If you don't like how this tastes when you're done, it's basically your fault. So make sure you adjust. All right, so after the garlic, we're also going to add some cayenne, just a little pinch. I'm not sure if that's a traditional Greek ingredient, but it is a traditional Chef John ingredient. And then a little bit of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I'm going to give that a mixing at this point. And that is pretty much done except for the herb. So let's talk herb. There's kind of a controversy. All right, many people insist it should be dill. Other people suggest mint is a much better choice. For me personally, I agree with both groups. I like to put a little mint and a little dill. So I'm going to chop up some mint leaves, maybe 1 part mint to 2 parts dill, I'd say. And yes, my cutting board's warped. And yes, it's annoying me too. I'll fix it. And if you don't like mint or dill, you could use parsley. That's what my friend Sisyphus does, which is pretty good. It's just not how I roll. So you can use that too if you want. So I'm going to stir in that freshly chopped herb. And at that point, we're ready for final seasoning. So I'm going to give this a little taste. And I decided to give it a little more cayenne, just a little bit of black pepper, and a little pinch of salt. All right, so you really got to taste for the salt because don't forget, we salted the cucumber. So you're going to want to taste and adjust at this point. All right, give that one last mix, and then what we're going to do is wrap it up and not eat it for at least 3 or 4 hours. You have to let this sit and let the flavors develop. Okay, overnight's even better. But you really do want to give it some time. And then after that, of course, you're going to spoon that up into some kind of serving vessel. Maybe a little bit of a dill garnish, a little cayenne for some color. I served mine with some homemade pita bread. I really should show you how to make that. So delicious. And there you go. Homemade tzatziki sauce, one of the world's great snacks and all-purpose condiments. This is just good on so many things. Just a beautiful, bright, tangy flavor. One of my all-time favorite dips, whether you're talking bread, crackers, vegetables. And of course, if you're anywhere close to grilled lamb, stuff that in a pita. spoon on that tzatziki, maybe some cherry tomatoes, and when you bite into that, you will understand the true genius of this amazing sauce, which according to my sources is a very ancient recipe. I mean, people were eating this when Athena was still a twinkle in Zeus's hair. I mean, that's way back, okay? So if you've never had this before or have only had it out at Greek restaurants, I really hope you give this a try. Head over to foodwishes.com to get all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.